Perfect. So today's class is something that I have taught before in yoga classes, and I also think is something that um, is not as common when it comes to yoga classes or when it comes to teaching yoga. So the idea of somatic movement. And somatic movement, it took me a while to understand what somatic movement was or what somatic was. And the best way that I can describe it or understand it for myself is the idea that we can build awareness within ourselves by focusing on the cells. So if we imagine our bodies full of cells, millions, billions of cells making our tissues, our bones, everything that we are, then those cells, because they are sort of in a group connected, making ourselves, then how can we connect to those cells so we can build awareness? Another way that I can explain this is how can we not use our nervous system to build awareness? Because we're always so in tune with our nervous system. Do I feel this touch on my arm with my hand? Is there pain anywhere when I'm moving through the practice and I feel a bone, muscle, or whatever it is that I'm feeling in that time? How can I start to get away from trying to feel with my nervous system because it always goes through the brain and back into the body, and instead go deeper than that and go deeper in terms of how can I feel with my cells, and the cells, they don't really, we cannot really feel with the cells, but the idea that the cells have a memory, and that um, the cells have always been there even since the time that we were conceived in our mother's womb. So the idea that we can trust the memory of ourselves to build awareness within ourselves. Now, everything that we do today is going to go through the nervous system because the nervous system is so primordial, is so important, is the foundation of ourselves. But it's almost like tuning in into a different frequency within ourselves. And let's say that if I move my arm, so how can I think of moving my arm from the skin? So if I do this from the skin, how is that different than if I move my arm from my bone or if I move my arm from the muscle? Now, the bone, the skin, and the bone are going to be involved in this movement. It's just that I'm choosing where to put the awareness. So if I'm putting the awareness in the skin, and I know that the skin is made up of cells, so then how can I imagine all those cells working together to move the arm from the skin? And it is impossible just to move the skin. The bone and the muscle is gonna go with it, but it's just so we can switch the way that we think about movement, switching the way that we think about um, always moving from the nervous system, always moving through the brain and connecting back into the body. So it's just slightly different tools that we can apply because then the movement becomes more interesting, or the way that we perceive movement changes, or the intelligence that we use to perceive movement changes. So what I like to say before we start is um, you can sit down for the whole practice and close your eyes and just listen to me and you can visualize. So a big part of somatic or somatization is the idea of visualization. So if I am sitting down and I visualize myself moving, then that is also working on the cellular memory. It is working on the cellular memory of the brain, of the whole body, of trusting that the movement that I was brought up with, that the movement that is inherent since the time I was within my mother's womb, that movement is still there, that body is still there, those cells are still there. So So you can sit down, you can close your eyes, you can visualize anything you want. You don't have to do it with me. I'm gonna do it physically. But I invite you to lie down, sit down, or move with me if you like. And and also know that something like that, if you're new to this, it takes time. I'm also working on it. But I love reading about all these theories and this work. I think it's fascinating because I think that there is so much more than our nervous system. And yeah, so having said that, I'd like you to begin either standing or seated or lying down and close your eyes, whatever you are. And as you close your eyes, start to notice where you are. So if you're standing, notice the feet underneath you starting to meet the floor. So visualize the surfaces of your feet, the soles of the feet, the part that is in contact with the floor, saying hello to the floor. So as you stand, or if you're sitting on a chair, notice the parts of your body that are in contact with the chair. And it's almost like they are meeting for the first time. So the skin, or even if you want to go deeper, visualize millions of cells connected through your clothes, saying hello to the surface underneath it, connecting to the particles of the floor or the chair or the ground or whatever you are. So it's almost like consent. You're asking the floor or the chair for permission to be there, and the floor or the chair is allowing you to be there, is saying, yes, sit on the chair or stand on the floor. I'm here to support you. And just a few breaths as we start to connect to the surface. Feel free to connect to your Ujjayi breath or just keep a soft breath here, nice and easy. And as you continue to connect with the floor, notice the space. How do you say hello to the space you're in? Have you said hello to the space? Or have you just implied that the space is there to receive you? Have you welcomed yourself into the space? What is the energy around the space? Because even though we might seem as separate from the space, yoga teaches us that we are part of that space. We are all one. Our cells are always in conversation with the environment, with the particles around us. So, how are you part of that space right now? What is the energy of that space right now? Do you feel welcome in that space? Does the space feel different than yesterday or than last week? And as you continue to tune into the space around you, notice still the floor underneath you, the chair underneath you. You're still in that relationship, how your body is meeting the chair, how the body is meeting the floor. Keep breathing. And then you may keep your eyes closed And begin to gather both hands together. So the next thing I'd like us to begin to bring awareness to is vibration. Vibration is around us, is what created all the matter, all the reality that we see is all particles are always vibrating and creating the reality that we see, things that we can touch. And then visualize your body as vibration, as cells vibrating all the time, changing, creating, dividing themselves into groups to make up your body. So as you have your hands together, begin to rub your hands, and you start to rub your hands pretty quickly, as quick as you can. And then begin to take your arms, your hands forward, and palms facing down, spread the fingers and open them and close really fast as you can. And when you open, is really trying to open all the fingers. Again, remember that you can visualize all this. You don't have to do it with me. Visualize that your hands are opening and close really quick. And we're just gonna be here for 2 more breaths. And then the next thing is to bring both hands toward each other without touching and just feel the tingling. And if you bring the hands really close to each other, you might feel energy between the hands. So that is all vibration. Your body is creating that vibration because you are part of that vibration. So again, we are feeling with the nervous system, but we are visualizing our nervous system in a way, just taking a break, and then we're feeling with the cells, we're feeling with the body, we're feeling with the skin. The nervous system is just going for a walk, and then what is left, and how can we feel with whatever is left. And then take your hands forward again and begin to open and close really quick, or visualize that you're doing this. And then take your hands and just place them whatever you feel right away that you need touch. So I'm gonna do my chest. You can do somewhere else. I'm gonna do my left thigh. So where do you feel that you need maybe healing or touch or awareness or connection? So I notice my heart. I notice the skin of my left thigh. And then let's do this a couple more times. So you might have other places that you might want to do this. So taking your hands forward, open them and close. You can also do hands together and then rub the hands, or a combination of both. And then for me, next time I'm gonna place my hand, one of them at the top of my head and on my belly. So, but you choose whatever you need for yourself. Where do you need extra awareness? Where do you need the cells to meet? So visualize your cells are meeting. The cell of my right hand is meeting the cells of the hair. The cells of the left hand are meeting the cells of the belly. And or visualize this happening. And then let's do it one more time. Hands together or hands open and close. And then I feel that next I'm gonna do my lower back and my neck. But you choose for yourself whatever you need. So What I like about somatic movement is very personal. What it is that you need, because it's very different from what I need today, what I need right now. So the cells of my hand are meeting the cells of my neck. The cells of my other hand are meeting the cells of my lower back. Also, the longer you spend doing this, the better, the more awareness you can build around this idea. And then begin to let go of that. Just close your eyes or stay with your eyes closed and notice what you notice. Notice the areas you touched. Or if you visualize, notice the areas you brought awareness to. And then I'd like you to think of an asana, a pose right now that your body might want. And the first thing I can think for myself is Warrior Two. So go ahead and safely access that pose. So I'm going to move into my Warrior Two. As you open both arms in Warrior Two or whatever you are, maybe you're still sitting down, imagining a pose. Maybe you're sitting down, visualizing handstand, whatever it is that you need. And notice how now the body is connected into the floor. Does it change? Does it change the way that you are performing that pose? And if your hands are free, you can bring the hands together and then rub your hands or open and close. And then as you open again, as you feel the energy of your hands, notice the space. Maybe you want to place your hands on your body again. That might feel nice. And if you're doing a pose that requires two different sides, go ahead and begin to switch. Switch your sides. And just about 2 more cycles of breath here. And then slowly begin to safely come out of the pose, whether you're seated, lying down, or back to standing. Soften the hands. And just notice your muscles, your knees, your feet, the back of the body, the front of the body. You still feel the energy around you. Maybe there's tingling on your body, tingling in the hands. That is the cells, the vibration. And then the next thing that I like us to do is get into the lungs. So if the arms come up, let's say you bring the arms up like you're about to do a silent salutation. If the arms come up and then in front of the heart, we are moving bones, muscles, skin, connective tissue, liquid. But what if I feel that the support of my arms is coming from the lungs? So before you do anything or visualize anything, soften the hands by your sides and visualize the lungs breathing. Remember that that layer of the vibration is still underneath it, so we haven't forgotten about vibration yet. And then, is it possible as you begin to bring the arms up toward the ceiling, you can keep the eyes closed. Can you visualize that they are being left by the lungs? So if you inhale, the arms come up, and then as you exhale, the hands may come back in front of the heart. Try that a couple more times, or let's just continue trying this at your own pace. So you can inhale, feel the support of your arms to the lungs. And exhale. Remember, the muscles are moving, bones are moving, skin is moving, but that's not the emphasis. The emphasis is lifting from the lungs. And as you do this, notice if that changes the way you move. Notice if that changes the perception of your pose. So that one more time. Lifting the arms from the lungs. And bring the hands in front of the heart. And then let's do a few more this time. As I mentioned before, think of the skin. Can you lift your hands from the skin? And right away, for myself, I feel that my arms almost become like a puppet. It's almost like I'm being held by the skin with the strings. So think of how can you lift your arms from the skin? Does it change the quality of your movement? And you can still extend the arms, you can still reach, you can reach, but the idea of the skin lifting the arms. And then think of the idea of the bones. Lift the arms from the bones, from the bones. So you can visualize your arm bones. It helps to maybe have seen a bit of anatomy before. Lift the arm bones. And for me personally, this feels more sharp. It feels more, it's almost like it allows for the whole body to elongate more. Let's do a few more, lifting the arms from the bones. And then just do your last one. And when you finish your last one, just relax in Tadasana. Just release your hands by your sides or stay seated or whatever you are, visualizing if you're visualizing. Close your eyes or keep a soft gaze. And then the next thing I'd like us to do is visualize a balance. So for me, I'm going to bring the weight to my left foot, or you can also practice the balance with me or visualize it. And then moving to tree pose. So right foot above or below the knee joints. And then finding that balance. So right now I'm really relying on my bones and my muscles to support me on my center. But then can I go back to feeling the tingling sensation? I'm going to take my hands together in front of the heart, but you can take your hands toward the ceiling. And then as you move into tree pose, is it possible to stop relying on your bones and muscles and begin to notice all the things that we have talked about today? So notice the vibration in your body. Notice how the cells of your foot are connected into the cells of the thigh. Do you feel the support of the lungs? Maybe your arms are being supported by the lungs. Or how is it to feel yourself supported by the skin here? And I would say that with bones it's a little bit easier because it is such a bone emphasizing posture. We are supporting ourselves through the bones here, through the stability of the bones. And then when you're ready, begin to switch sides or visualize yourself doing tree pose. Now, right away, for myself, the thing that I can think about a lot is the foot against the thigh. It's very present. Maybe it's because I worked on bringing the hands together at the beginning with the vibration, but that is the thing that I'm more aware of right now is the foot against the thigh is very powerful. Something I never thought of before. But what is it for yourself? What is the thing that you're more curious or you're noticing the most right now? And then you slowly, when you're ready, begin to let it go as you soften the foot back down and soften the hands by your sides. You can close your eyes and notice, maybe notice the imprint of the foot against the thigh. Continue to notice how the feet are in relationship to the floor. Continue to notice how yourself is in relationship to the space. So there's a conversation always of the floor and your body, of the chair and your body, of the space and your body. Notice the vibration around you. Maybe there is still tingling sensation happening in your body. And then just for the next few minutes, notice if there is a need to move in whichever way you like to move. Maybe it's an asana, a pose that you want to do again, or do something else. Maybe it's a bit more free. I feel shoulders right now for myself, so I'm just gonna move my shoulders. But just go with the first thing that comes to mind. Don't overthink it, because when we overthink, we are going through the nervous system. So what is the first thing that comes to mind? It doesn't matter if it's silly or if it feels weird or new. Even visualizing, you might visualize your body moving even though you're not actually moving. So I'm gonna move my shoulders, and I feel that I wanna move my feet as well. And I feel the head is very connected to my shoulders, so I just feel like I wanna separate them a little bit. Shoulders and the neck and the head. Maybe you are in an asana and you're staying there in asana, but as you're in your asana, maybe in warrior two or eagle or tree or shavasana, is there any movement you want to do in other areas of the body? Right now, I feel like I want to be grounded, so maybe a bending of the knees is gonna help me to feel grounded here. Let's just take a minute or two just to move however you like to move. Still notice the vibration around you. Still notice the way that you're connected into the floor. How big is the movement or how small is the movement you want to do? Is it shaky movement or is it a slow movement? If you are in an asana, in a pose, in stillness, you want to switch it, do something else, or do you want to stay where you are? Keep noticing the breath. Don't overthink it. When we overthink, we're going through the nervous system. And the idea is to imagine we're turning off the nervous system and just allowing the cells to tell us, what do the cells want to do right now? What is the environment inviting us to do right now? And then just stay here for a couple more breaths. Start to visualize or start to find the wrapping up of your movement or your visualization. Notice how it ends. What is the end of it for yourself? How can you feel how can you feel done with the movement, or how can you feel closure? How can you feel that that's enough? Or maybe it's not enough. Maybe you want to keep doing more of it, and that's fine. You can continue to do more of it. Maybe find Tadasana or Shavasana or seated with your eyes closed and notice. Notice the sensations of your body, of your skin, your bones. Do you feel vibration? What do you feel? What do you notice? And then bringing both hands together in front of the heart center. I hope that this practice planted a seed on your mind that hopefully it will grow with time. I'm hoping that I introduce you to something that is beneficial to you. I find that this is very great for when we are injured, when we cannot do something in full, when we don't feel like moving, but visualizing movement is so powerful. Or moving with the cells, activating the cells to help us in movement is so powerful. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me in this live. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of today and this week. Namaste.